It was kind of more of an afterthought making a video a couple weeks ago on my 7.5 grades in my collection. And then it became 8.5 and then 6.5. And figure I may as well just show the rest of them. 5.5 on down to 1.5. So there's enough here to justify some video content showing some cards here. And, you know, nothing new. Just me sort of rehashing and recycling some of the same shit some of you guys have seen for years. But if you're new to my channel, welcome. And I think, what do I have here? Like, I don't know, like 16 cards or so. But starting off with this post Mickey Mantle, pretty inexpensive card, relatively speaking, in the world of Mantle cards, vintage Mantle cards. This is a 5.5. I got this for a song. It was like, I don't even know if I paid much more than $100 for this, and probably because it was in the CSG slab, one of the OG flips with the green. But anyway, you know, it's certainly a nice card. And I had forgotten to, you know, when CSG had that promotion that they'll reholder everything and the older flip to the newer flip for like $5 a card. I thought I had gathered up all that I had in the CSG slab, but apparently not. This one remains, and you know, I just may as well just leave it. But this has, I think this is a pretty common one too, if you have this on the back, but I'm not sure. There's some more knowledgeable food issue experts that could clarify that a little bit better. So that's the post Mantle. This is one of my favorite cards. When I was hunting for this card, I wanted like a really high grade, but you know what? This works just as well. It may be a really low grade, but I think it looks great. From an eye appeal standpoint, there's a crease. You know, these kinds of creases are essentially automatic 1.5s, but really nice centering on this Diamond Stars. I do look at other Diamond Stars cards. I like the set, but time will tell if I'll add any more. But the Fox was the main card, my favorite card from that particular set. So Jimmy Fox. And then you're going to see, I think, most of my T206 cards in this video because I tend to skew towards the lower grades. This Eddie Collins here. Nice card, nice color. I just like the aesthetics of this. 3,000 hit club member and Hall of Famer Eddie Collins. Another favorite of mine. Glad I got this one when I did. I say that about a lot of cards, but this one, the centering is really nice. I'm not sure if it's one of the tougher cards to find centered. I'm not sure if it's necessarily 50-50. It's pretty close. Yogi Berra. This one was a this treasure trove of useless facts and data that I could store in my head. This one was I think a baseball card emporium. I think somebody not too far from me, somebody in New York State had that on eBay, and it was $299. So it's, yeah, easily, you know, 7-8 years ago, I think. This is going to come out of this hideous slab. I'm not so, I guess, hesitant to crack out the smaller cards because they do give you a lot of leeway inside here. I mean, plus it's encased in a Mylar, sealed Mylar sleeve. But yeah, this Hack Wilson, I talked about this card recently. I mean, it's a 4.5 BVG. I'd be fine with like a 3.5, anywhere from a 3 to a 4.5 in a PSA. But I do expect it to grade lower, which I think is the norm when you're crossing over BVG. Hopefully it checks out and doesn't come back as authentic, altered. That would really piss me off. Just shared this one on Instagram recently when I was putting together the stack of cards for this particular video. Christy Mathewson, Dark Cap. I bought this a long time ago. Like before the mid to late 2000s, I want to say. I went on a little collecting run where I was targeting key T206, I guess, Hall of Famers. And so there's this Christy and coincidentally this Cy Young. And this is my favorite Cy Young of the group. He has, I think, 2 others. Centering kind of sucks, I know. But I want to say both of these cards were like in the $400 range. Maybe $350 to $400 range when I got them. Just to give you an idea how long ago that was. So there's Cy Young. Sweet Caporal. Bowman Mantle. One of his more polarizing issues with a television set, vintage television set, border. 55 Bowman and a 5.5, which I think has really good centering. Yeah, pretty good. Maybe that's why I bought it, what drew me to it. I want to say it was in the $500 to $600 range. As part of my Mantle run. I always give myself a hard time about this next one. It's such a nice looking card. The cleaner it is and the higher the grade is, but it's a very expensive card. This is Walter Johnson. And not unlike the Cy Young and Mathewson, this also was in the $400 range. That was like kind of my budget for these types of cards. Some paper loss here. It looks like it's very dirty. This is probably a good candidate for Kurt's Card Care. But I don't know what you could do about those rounded corners. So, and I say that in jest. I am not a supporter of restoring cards. Who knows where all that's going to go in the hobby. But anyway. Up next is another Mantle. In fact, I have, I got a few Mantles. In fact, this particular grouping is T206 and Mantle Centric. Here's the Red Heart Dog Food, 4.5. Nice looking card. With a so-so centering. Yeah, I mean, you can see it is not quite squared up, but good enough, I suppose. I really like this next card. I know the grade is very low, but I was very happy, and I didn't mind that I definitely maybe I overpaid, maybe I didn't. This is one of those cards where, VCP 1.5, 1.5 in a VCP grade. VCP grade. When you look at the VCP, and you look at the 1.5s, that price isn't a good indicator of what this one probably is. This is like really nicely centered. The eye appeal is off the charts. Crease here. But, this card is always off-centered, it seems like. And oftentimes there's a lot of business going on this maroon background here. And I did buy this during, maybe it was later 2021. So, prices were still coming down. I paid $2,500 for this, full disclosure. That's what this cost me. Now, you can get like a 4 for $2,500, I think, but the 4 is going to, it's going to be really off-centered. So, yeah. I don't mind paying up, by at least one grade for a card with, really nice eye appeal. And I think I talked about that. I did that once before with my Whitey Ford rookie card, which is only a 2. But it looks outstanding. 53 Topps Mantle, 2.5. This was a $500 card. That was sort of like the upper limit. This was purchased maybe 15 to 20 years ago. Yeah, that was a lot of money. And I had to go down to 2.5 in order to afford one of these. I think, I tend to see a lot of 2.5s of this card, maybe more than others for whatever reason. And this is nicely centered. It has the soft corners. And there's probably some, there's like a crease here. But yeah, this is one of my bigger cards many, many years ago before I got into doing countdowns and things like that. But 53 Topps Mickey Mantle. So we're down to the top, but that's actually number 5 on this list out of, I don't think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 16 cards. All right, so that was number 5. Number 4 is Lou Gehrig, card number 160 from 1933 Goudey. Classic Lou Gehrig. And I've told the story on, I believe, more than one occasion when I've shown this card, is that the buyer was, or the seller was pissed that this card only got a 2.5, and he's really like grumpy about selling it to me. It was under $1,000, like barely. But I was like, whatever, man. You know, you put it up there for auction. I want it. That's that. So, and it was crazy because I think I got this card not long after I picked up the Goudey Ruth from the same year, and I was just thinking, like, what am I doing? That was like so much money, you know, for me. Number 3 is going to be Joe DiMaggio, 1941 play ball, and you know, there is a tilt here. You can see it, right? It's a centered tilt, if that makes sense. I mean, well, maybe not. It's as good as it's going to get for this grade, and this was like $1,700. This was I remember Saturday morning, drinking my coffee, just looking on eBay, seeing the card. It had just been listed, and another one of those deals where the eBay seller, it was obvious that he also had a storefront somewhere. And we started communicating that morning. I think within the hour, we had closed on a selling price. He might have had it listed for like $2,000 or $2,200, and we settled on like $1,750 or something like that. You know, because he was avoiding the fees, you know, the 10% fees, whatever they were, and so he gave me a little bit of a deal, which is good. Yeah, nice card here. Joe DiMaggio, 41 play ball. Pairs really well with the Ted Williams, which I crossed over from a VVG 4 to a PSA 3. This is a big card. This was, you know, if I didn't get this when I did, I would never see it again, kind of thing, right? Card I was looking for. It was last summer. And yeah, it was up there for a while. And then this guy was somebody, I think I had dealt with him once before on via Instagram. And he didn't come down a whole lot from his eBay price because he had paid a fair amount for this, I think through Huggins and Scott, not long before. I thought about it. I ended up going to the New York National, see if I could find one on my own there. And there were a couple there, but they didn't look anywhere near as nice as this one. And so I decided to say, okay, let's just do it. So I paid up for this one, this Bad Off Cobb and a polar bear back. I don't really care about, you know, the different backs that come with these cards. I mean, I would have liked to have had this maybe in a more common back, so maybe wouldn't have paid as much money. But anyway, I mean, there's a crease and things like that, but the centering is fantastic. It's got nice color. And yeah, definitely a big card. The Ty Cobb bat off. And then lastly is a card I've shown a zillion times. It's the Mantle. 51 Bowman. So there's not really much more I could say about this. People say, well, it looks so good. Why is it only 1.5? There's the reason. I suppose when I post things on Instagram, I should maybe do the front and the back of the card. Some people just, but yeah, but whatever. Doesn't really bother me that much. 1.5 Mickey Mantle. And so that will conclude, and that's it for the, whatever you want to call it, the half point grades, the in-between grades. That concludes the everything I have. Everything else is going to be whole number grades. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching.